Did you know that Google My Business offers you a free website, and it also relies on other authorities outside of Google? There's a couple of things we're going to look at today that are going to give you a different perception on how Google views your business. It's not just about the information that you give through Google My Business. So we'll look at the website and the free website you can set up in a moment. But before we go on to that, let's just consider for a minute, how does Google see authority within itself? Of course, if Google made all the decisions, it's likely to fall. But actually, Google's more powerful when it starts to see what the rest of the web says about your business. So in some ways, Google solidifies its authority by checking with other authorities too, to see whether or not it matches what's said about your business. And that's why you often hear about scanning to see whether your business has a trustworthy and an authoritative view on other areas, other indexes, and other authoritative websites. So although Google is the biggest search engine, it could be considered vulnerable if it started to go down a track where people couldn't relate to it. We all need assurance to make sure we make good decisions, and Google's the same. So Google will go to Yale, it'll go to TripAdvisor, it'll go to your Facebook page, it will check you out on all your social media references about your business. And if suddenly this 5-star rating you've got isn't backed up by other statements on other websites and other authority areas, Google may start to lose your ranking. And that's why today we're going to focus on everything outside of Google My Business, plus that free website. And of course, in every country, there are different types of directories that have an authority. And on top of that, depending on your type of business, will also depend on what authority is considered important to Google. So one of the top tips to do this is to just go to Google and type in your business and just see, does Google give any authority to any other indexes or any other types of social media? And if they do, then you need to be seen in those areas. And not just seen in those areas, but seen with ratings, with rankings, with testimonials, with photos, with the correct address, the correct number, a consistency. We often talk about NAP, name, address, phone number. Those consistencies build trust. We often talk about EAT, expertise, authority, and trust. All those things come together, and Google then builds up this picture of how the world sees your business, and then it compares it to how Google sees your business. And if the two match, if they marry, then Google's happy. And then if you click into some of these areas, some of these businesses, you'll notice that Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, there's a social media element as well that gets picked up by Google, and again just shows it's an authority. So the purpose of this is just building authority in Google My Business. That will help you rank, and if you rank higher, you'll get more traffic, more inquiries, more customers. So if you want that health scanner, I'll put a link down below for you, and it will then take you straight to that health scanner. It's totally free. You can run 3 scans a day for totally free. So I'll put that down for you. Now it's a chance for you to play your part here. Who do you think is the biggest authority for your business? So put a comment down below, and while you're there, give us a like as well. That'll help others find this video. But we'll just put down there, is it Bing? Is it Apple? Is it Yale? What do you think is the biggest authority in your particular community, in your particular business area? The next thing we're going to do is just move on to then show you this free website. So we alluded to this last day or two. We've mentioned it a few times in the past. I've certainly done videos on it quite recently even. But this free website, most people haven't enabled it, and it's really easy to enable. But there's also a few other things you can do with it that are going to be able to help you optimize in Google My Business. Now, you might say, well, I've already got a website. Why would I need another website? But just consider it. If you do a search for your particular business, you want to come up number 1 in the maps, you want to come up number 1 in the results of Google My Business, the knowledge panel on the side, and also for your website, and maybe even perhaps a couple more references to your website, maybe to the blog as well. But by then having the free website from Google, you're also getting another entry. And even though that entry might just take them through to your Google My Business listing, which then may lead to an inquiry, it's another place out the top 10 you've taken away from your competitor. So in effect, if you could crowd out the top 10, your competitor can't get in there at all. And that's the thinking behind why you'd want to enable your Google My Business website. And on top of that, the Google My Business website does give you a glimpse into what Google currently thinks is important. So the fact it mentions maps, it has on there the importance of hours, of opening times, a contact button to get inquiries from you straight away, or maybe a quote. The fact that it has photographs on there that are relevant to your business. The fact you've got testimonials, the About Us page as well with keywords in. All these things show that Google views them as important. So you can actually learn some things. You might not feel the presentation of the website Google gives it that's free is particularly good, and I agree. But the information it provides is excellent, and that could be copied in your website. Of course, often there's a word of warning though, that everything that you get that's free isn't free. In fact, Jonathan Zittrain said, when something online is free, you're not the customer, you're the product. Fair quote. So just bear in mind that you are giving a lot of information to Google. So there is that kind of trade-off there to consider. So at this point, I'd like to just raise a few questions for you to think about, because this is where you get involved in this lesson now. This is where you have to be honest with your business. So think about your business, think about all the things you've done to optimize it so far in this channel, and then ask yourself these questions. Is your Google My Business website live? Is it filled out with keywords? Now, really we'll see that yesterday and tomorrow, keywords also will be mentioned. And again, I'm going to give you some really useful tips as to how you can find those keywords that are needed to get you boosted up. And so you do need to know where to put them and how to put them into your website. So using posts, using the About page is an excellent way to do that. Now, this is a tip that most people haven't done. Does all 5 pages show on your Google My Business free website? Now you might say, well, it's only 1 page, but actually the menu takes you to different parts of the page. So it's a website that in effect has 5 pages built on that one home page. So most people just check, look at the menu, have you got all 5 pages? The chances are that one of those isn't filled out, and that's what you need to look at. Fill it out with keywords, mentioning perhaps some of the areas you serve, some of the services you do, some of the products you offer, and then fill that up so that it's getting the maximum amount of information into Google and into its spidering search engine, so that when people are looking for those things, you've just given it another bit of information to enable your customers to find you. Now, when you also look at your free website, does it align with the rest of your branding? Now, this is going to be a challenge. You're going to have to use images, use your logo, but the color schemes are quite limited and the fonts are quite limited at this time. Now, my guess is that Google will eventually make this so that it's much more able to become something like Shopify or like a Squarespace, where you can do a lot more optimizations and you can do a lot more changing to the designs and character and feel and look. But at the moment, try and fit the branding as best as you can to what you've got, so that when people do find the free website, they don't find it a million miles away from what you've already produced. And finally, just consider, what does the free website do better than your website? So does it show a map? Does it offer directions? Does it have a call to action? Does it use a WhatsApp button? Well, if you're using that on your free website and it's proving to be a hit, surely then you need to put that into your main website, into your professional website. What you don't want is to find that your free website in the end is producing better results than your current paid for website. So just learn from both. You know really what Google wants when you look at the free website. So by default, the Google My Business website is off, so you need to turn that on. Bear in mind, it's also mobile friendly, which is another benefit, that if your website isn't currently mobile friendly, this is useful. Bear in mind also, you can use this website as your main website if you want to. So you can even link through on your Google My Business and put this website as a website that represents your business rather than perhaps a domain name that's professional. Though again, if you want to grow the business, you may want to think about updating that in the future. You can actually use Google Domains to buy a domain and then log it onto your Google My Business free website. You can also search for the websites of other competitors using the free website. So I did a video just a few weeks ago that showed you how you can do a search and get understanding of how others are using their free website, maybe see what offers they're doing, what posts, what testimonials, and find out how they're using branding on their free website. So there's an easy way to do that. Just do a search for site :business.site and then put in the brand or the particular type of category that your business is in. And the nice thing with the Google My Business free website is it also brings in all of the latest information. So when you get new testimonials, or when you get when you add a new post, a new update, a new offer, new photos in the gallery, all those things get updated without you even doing anything. So your website is continuously being updated every time you update your Google My Business listing. So there's a great integration there, and means then you haven't got to worry about updating your website because you're just doing it by adding stuff through the Google My Business listing. And of course, ultimately, all this is another signal. Every time you add something into the Google My Business listing, you're giving another signal to Google that you're keeping things up to date. Google goes, great, this business is up to date, this business is serving customers, this business is an authority, it's an expert, it's trustworthy, EAT. So in conclusion, what are you going to do today now you've watched this video? Well, there's 4 things that I'm going to ask you to do today. The first thing is run that free scan tool. So go to the link down below in the description, click on it, then go through to Bright Local and run that scan. It's free, and just see, is there any other areas that you can improve in your NAP, your name, address and phone number? Do you need to index yourself in some of those indexes? Do those directories need to be showing your business because it hasn't been updated or registered with them? So go ahead and do that first of all. Second, make adjustments to any inconsistencies that you find on there. So if you see that the address is wrong, the phone number is wrong, then go in, edit it, make the change. Number 3, optimize and brand your free website. It's there to use. There's no harm in making it live, as I showed you earlier on. And finally, have a search for your business in Google. So search for your business and see how many of the top 10 have you managed to take out to show up to your professional website, your Facebook, your Twitter feed, your LinkedIn feed, the business feed in Bing, the business in Yale, the business on Checkertrade. If you can take out the top 10, your competitor will not find you. So that's another challenge that you can perhaps aim to do, not just during this 30-day challenge, but an ongoing challenge. So if you want to know more about that free website and how to search for competitors' versions of it, then I'll put a link here to this video. But if you want to just know more about keywords and how you can really find the secrets of the best keywords for your business, then join me tomorrow, because that's what we're going to look at on tomorrow's lesson, day 12.